This ought to be fun. We're going to try some rough country steps and rock rails replacing on the Jeep. Let's see how it goes. I already got my first annoyance with it. The bolts that they come with, the first ones you start with are 8 by 20 millimeter. The second ones you start with are 8 by 25 millimeter. And of course they're all in one giant ass bag. Hard as they tell you to put it on a flat surface. As a suggestion, I'd make that flat upside down flat surface because it's easier to mount these things than when they're hanging off. Have an ultra flat surface, you can hang it off the edge of the box like this so you can still get your socket wrench to actually move back and forth. I also don't mean to sound petty, but I do have a couple of quality comments on this, which sometimes it looks like the finish didn't get a really good job on it. There's just like a couple of little tiny spots right here and some other spots. And I think that's really what that's gonna be is that's just gonna start rusting way sooner than it probably should. But you know, if it's not rusting, it's not a Jeep. I kind of look at the finish on this. I know it's a part that doesn't really get looked at a lot, but it definitely is going to be a part that receives a little bit of movement and rubbing. Here's one more. See this kind of glob weld right here that is right on the edge of that? Can't really see it there, but I can still get my fingernail underneath that. And that's really not how that should work. Now that those are on, except for this one here, we're gonna go underneath the Jeep, make sure that we pull it off the right way. Your safety goggles, because you can't hear some things that you really like to look at. I'm always doing this by myself. I'm gonna leave in the middle bolt and take out the end too, so that I can bench press it down. So after my third time of failing at this, I want you to notice it says, each bracket using factory hardware holes and body seam is shown supplied below. Blah, blah, blah. You can install it with factory flat washers or factory hardware to attach. I want you to notice the difference between the factory hardware and theirs. There's a little bit of a length problem there, bro. And that makes it problematic to actually make it connect. When the parts guy who's filling the bag can't count, it really makes me nuts. I know part of it's my fault because I should have counted beforehand to make sure that everything was there. My bad. However, I'm not going to wait for an entire week to get new parts. So there they are, installed. I think the trick is, if you're doing it by yourself, is to make sure you put in the center one. It's right over here. And then do the front one first and then the back one, because the back one is a real pain in the butt to get lined up unless you do the front one first. I tried doing the back one first. I could never get it back and lined it up until I did the front one. There we go, both sides. Now with steps. I think I would give this a maybe 3.5 stars out of 5. The quality just doesn't quite feel the same as the factory bars. Additionally, the factory bars have a little bit of a bend to them. So when you see that this kind of gap exists here, the factory bars have a slight bend to them, which is why it lines up a little bit easier. So 3.5, packaging on it like solid 3, maybe 2.9. Am I happy? I'm happy. I could be happier though.